guys, welcome to Home Sweet Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and I'm a homeschooling mom to one. I was a public school teacher for 13 years and my son attended public school up until second grade and then a private school in third grade. So we've only been homeschooling for 2 years. This is the end of our second year. And so today I want to bring you an end of the year check-in. I think back in February, I did a mid-year check-in to let you know how we had switched curriculum and changed things up in our homeschool to make it a little bit better for my son. And now I wanted to share an end of the year. So his 5th grade year is ending. By the time you see this video, we'll be all finished with our curriculum for this year. And so I wanted to share with you how the year has went, this second half of the year, what we have loved, what's going to stay the same, what we may change. And I just wanted to share that with you in case it may help you. So I guess I want to start with what we love and what has worked for us. At our mid-year check-in, I talked about how we switched in September to Gather Around Homeschool. And I know a lot of people are like, don't just jump on the newest thing. But I did want to try it out and kind of see how it goes. I mean, you never know until you try, right? So I wanted to try out the units, and lo and behold, we loved it. I wish I would have known that unit studies where my son thrived, because I would have done it our first year. But now I know, and since I know better, I can do better. So ever since then, ever since we tried North American Birds, we have just been purchasing units as we finish one. So I don't buy the whole year. I just purchase them as we need another one. So at this point, at the end of the year, we have done North American Birds, Space, Asia, the Christmas unit, and Oceans. So we only got through 5, but it was our first year. We did start kind of late in September, and of course you hit all those holidays. You got to take off at Thanksgiving, and you take off at Christmas and all that good stuff. So it took us a little while to get through them. I think we could have probably gotten through one more, but we decided to go ahead and end our year and kind of get our summer started because we want to. We live in the South, it's hot, and my son loves to be outside and play in the water and all that kind of stuff. So we were ready to end our year. So we got through 5 unit studies. And I must say that we have loved every one of them. My favorite is probably Oceans, but I'm a beach-loving girl anyway. That's probably my favorite. And if you ask my son, he would probably say Space or Oceans. But that doesn't mean the other ones aren't great either. We have loved all of them, and I definitely recommend you trying them out. So that has worked well for us. I can say, very strongly that Gather Around Homeschool is what works in our home right now. I know I've mentioned it before that because we're homeschoolers, we can change as needed. If I see that something's not working, that's when I'll work on it to change it. But right now, that has worked. It has worked the second half of our year, and my son really likes it. And when I sat down with him the other day to talk about plans for next year, he's like, are we still going to do Gather Around? And I'm like, if you want to, then we will. And he's like, yeah, of course I do. So, so far in our plans, we are definitely going to stick with Gather Around Homeschool because it works. If you want to see any of my videos that I've done on Gather Around, definitely go check them out. I have a lot of flip-throughs. I have my personal review of what I think about it. And keep in mind that I buy these myself. They're not given to me. I'm not paid for giving my opinion. I just am a mom who is so happy that something's working for her son. And I love sharing and talking about it. So if you're interested in Gather Around Homeschool, you can go to the website, and she has a week's worth of lessons for Earth Science and for Africa that you can download and try with your family and see if it's something you would like before you even purchase it. So enough about Gather Around. We love it. It works. We're going to use it next year. Now, let me look at my notes. The other thing that we use that works, and I love, and that is the Brave Rider Arrow Guides. I've had a lot of questions about those lately, and they're just, they go with your read aloud. I've been using these before we even started Gather Around Homeschool, but now that we use Gather Around, I try to find a book that corresponds with the unit that we're doing with Gather Round, but also has an arrow guide. Now sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, and they may not match up, but the point of the arrow guide is they're like a companion to your book. They help you teach literary elements, grammar, writing, spelling, all that kind of stuff. I love the arrow guides. They're just an excellent addition to your read aloud time, and I do that as part of our morning basket a couple of times a week. I'll pull the arrow guide out and we'll use it. We read our read aloud every day. So I love the arrow guides. I think they're a great asset. They're something wonderful to add to Gather Round. I did get the question the other day, do you think that Gather Round doesn't have enough language arts? Is that why you're doing the arrow guides? And that's an absolute no. I think Gather Round by itself is perfectly fine. Like it has plenty of language arts for my son. I use the arrow guides because I love Julie Bogart and I love what the arrow guides provide. So those do work well. I do want to share though that sometimes books aren't a good fit for us, and if you've watched any of my day in the life vlogs, I've shared that we started Mary Poppins and we pretty much got, I would say, more than halfway, and we didn't like it. We just didn't enjoy it at all. We liked the movies, we've seen those, but my son and I just did not enjoy the book, and instead of pushing our way through it and being miserable and not looking forward to read aloud time, we just stopped. We stopped using it altogether and we moved on to Swiss Family Robinson, and we're okay. So we do love Brave Writer arrow guides. So if you've never looked into those, you may want to check those out. So that's something that is working well, and I do plan on using those next year. Another thing that we did the second half of the year, and I did mention this in our mid-year check-in, is Khan Academy. We were getting kind of bored with math lessons for a living education. My son just does not enjoy that type of learning. I don't have anything bad to say about math lessons for a living education because I think it's a great math program. It just wasn't working for my son, and instead of buying something new, we tried Khan Academy. He learns a lot from the videos that he watches, and so I knew Khan Academy was delivered through a video and then you had some practice, and so we tried it, and so since February, that's what we've been using, and we've just been trucking right along, and he just continues to work on it each day. So that did work for us the second half of the year. So if you're at a point where maybe your math is not working, or your kids are a little bored and you just want to switch it up a couple of days a week, or you're looking to change completely, Khan Academy is free. It offers a ton of stuff, not just math, so definitely go check it out. And it did work for us this second half of the school year. The only thing, and I do want to share like what's working well and what we might change. So we may stay with Khan Academy. I'm not totally sure. The one thing that I've noticed is it's really hard for him when he clicks on the app to know where he needs to go next. Like when he finishes one lesson, it's hard for him to know what the next lesson is. The lessons are not numbered, they're not labeled. They have words, but it's not really clear where he needs to go to next. It's also hard for me to go back in and see what he's done and see what he scored. So it did get a little confusing. That's the only drawback for me. And it's probably a user error because I might not be sure of all the stuff it has to offer. So we are looking into other options. We had tried last year. We did the free trial of teaching textbooks, and we really liked that, but he decided just to stay with math lessons, so that's what we did. But now he actually brought it up the other day, and he's like, hey, you remember that math we tried where it had that little character and I could change the wallpaper in the background? Can we try that next year? And so I'm like, teaching textbooks? And he's like, yeah. So I said, well, remember, it's got like 20 problems that you have to complete. And he's like, well, I'll be in middle school next year, so I can do that. So I'm like, okay, we'll try it. So I went on their website and I downloaded the placement test for 2 levels because I'm just not really sure where I want to put him. So we may be using teaching textbooks. If you use it and it's working well for your child, let me know, because some people love it and some people don't. I mean, we've done the free trial and I like what I see, and I think it would be something we could stick with. You know, if he likes it, we could stick with it for the long run. So that may be changing. And then I know that Rebecca Spooner's team from Gather Round, they're coming out with math. And I'm really interested to see that because it's going to take on the same approach as her unit studies. So I'm really interested in seeing that math. So I don't know if I'm going to make a decision on teaching textbooks until I see that math. I don't know yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Just kind of let me know what you think about teaching textbooks. That's what I want to know. So that may be changing. So kind of just to recap, we're sticking with Gather Round, we're sticking with Brave Writer, and we're looking for something from math. So that's kind of where we are at the end of this homeschool year. It has been, it's been a good year. And I think it all, I owe all the credit to Gather Round because it's changed everything. It's made my life easier. It's made my son's life easier. He actually enjoys learning. I've learned so much from doing these unit studies. So that's great. The last thing I want to share that kind of didn't work and we may be changing is our calendar. I do plan on in the next couple of weeks offering some videos on how I plan for next year. So how I choose my curriculum, how I go about doing like a yearly plan, not where I write down specifics, but where I kind of make an outline of what weeks we're going to be in school and what we're going to be off and all that kind of stuff. Those will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And then one thing I definitely want to talk about is our calendar. This year, for some strange reason, and I think it was because we started with master books and they're kind of set up in 9-week, like a 9-week schedule. So I thought, hey, we'll do that. We'll do 9 weeks off and 9 weeks on and 1 week off. And that was really that was too long of time between breaks. And my son was getting burnt out and it just wasn't working. And then from then on, we just got really messed up. And we just kind of worked and then took off occasionally and then worked. And it just got really crazy. And we never really got on a really good rhythm of when we would be in school and when we would be off. And then this new year came, you know, with all these great things like, oh, it's 2020, it's a new year. We were pumped. And since March, it's really been crazy. So we haven't taken a lot of time off. We've just been working to get finished. And I'm like, next year, we are going to have a better schedule. And now I know I can't control much. I've pretty much seen with this pandemic, I have a lot less control than I think I do. But my plan for next year is to go back to what we did our first year, which was Sabbath schooling, which is 6 weeks on, 1 week off. 6 weeks will give us plenty of time to finish a unit study from Gather Round, a Brave Writer Arrow Guide with the chapter book, and then we'll have a week off. And in that week off, we have time to rest. I have time to get the new unit ready to go, get the new read aloud ready to go, make sure everything's printed. So I think that's going to be really good for us. So that's the other thing that I'm changing. So I hope this wasn't too confusing, and I hope it kind of leaves you knowing what we loved and what we're going to change. Remember to be on the lookout for how to plan your homeschool year. If you're new to homeschooling or if you just need some new ideas, because everybody does it differently, those will be coming up in May and June. I'm going to share how to find curriculum, how to make plans, all those good things. Those are coming up, so definitely hit that subscribe button and stick around so that you'll see what's happening for next year, because I do like to prepare way ahead of time because I'm a planner. I can't help it. So that's our end of the year. We had a great year. I hope you had a great year. I hope things worked out really well for you. Let me know what worked out well for you this year and what are you going to change for next year. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.